And of course, our police.
Pat, I don't know if it's just me, but I can't hear anything you're saying.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, how's that?
Okay, can you hear me?
Everyone here, Chief?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yes, I can.
We lost him.
Yeah, I lost.
John, you're muted.
Oops, there we go. Oops. All right, go ahead, Ted. Sorry about that.
At Halloween, I was just concerned about our police officers, and we have to keep them as safe as possible, obviously. But I think if we had a regular Halloween session, we would get a lot of older people that are scared to death, a lot of them, and they don't want people knocking on their doors. And I think that we would get a lot of flow back from people. So I think it's a good idea of what we're doing in regards to that, and I think it would help us as far as policing goes. Wanted to talk about the D.I.V.E.R.T program. I have Captain Sexsmith with me, and he is actually the guru of the program. He puts the program together, and it's a great program, I think. And what we're trying to do, obviously, is we can't put everybody in jail over drugs. And we're seeing so many drugs. We're dealing with it on a regular basis. And I'll let Captain Sexsmith get into the statistics of it. But this is another program that kind of gives people an advantage of getting off of drugs, not necessarily going through the criminal justice system, but another way of doing it. So it gives our officers another hand in it, and if we can save a couple of lives, that's what we're all about. So I'm going to turn it over to Captain Sexsmith, and he'll explain the program.
Can everybody hear me okay? Yes. Okay, I was lucky enough to have to explain this program to the Board of Public Safety last week, and this is a program we're pretty proud of. I want to also thank Chief Murray for his input on it, and Officer Blanchard. He's helped me a lot on this, putting this together, and we're very proud of it, and we're hoping this will work wonders throughout the city. It's a community police program that we're going to extend a hand to people and try to get them the help they need before, of course, we know what kind of drugs are out there, what they're laced with, and the last drug dose they get could be their last. So we're going to try to jump in there before they have that last one and try to get them off the drugs. Again, it's called the Hornell Police Department D.I.V.E.R.T program. D.I.V.E.R.T, if you all have the packet there, you should have this in there. D means drug, I means intervention through voluntary education, rehabilitation, and treatment. This program is kind of an offshoot of a program that the chief started years ago, where he would allow people to come in who wanted help right now, dump whatever they had, didn't matter how much or how much weight of drugs they had. If they wanted to go to rehab right now, dump it right here on the table. We're going to get you there. We're not going to charge you with it. Well, this is something we are playing off, and we've added to it, try to make it a little more encompassing in today's society. Page 2, if you go to goals. Goals are to reduce drug-related deaths in our community. Goal 2, reduce the destruction of families due to drug dependency. 3, reduce the stigma of addiction so more will seek help. Reduce crimes related to drug dependency, make our community safer and healthier. And community outreach to show that we are here to help, which we definitely are, and we need to turn that perception of us around, especially in today's day. We are here to help and not hinder people. This is part of that program, and we hope we're going to get that point across. Why divert? Opioid crisis. That's been going on for a couple of years now. We've lost people. We don't need to lose anybody in this community. And part of the reason we're losing them is because of fentanyl. It started with the heroin. And fentanyl is 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine. We go down to the next level, it's carfentanil. It's 10,000 more potent than morphine. Carfentanil is the stuff they use to put out large animals like elephants, tigers, for surgery. Okay? We are finding both of these in our heroin. Now it's found in our meth. So that's part of the reason we started this program, and it continues with us, the PD, naloxoning 25 people in 2 years. That's approximately 2 years, 25 people we've used naloxone on, and that's the drug that reverses the heroin and the fentanyl, the opioid overdose is what it does. It reverses that. This does not include the fire department stats. This is just what we're collecting. Approximately 7 people have died in the city from opioid-related overdoses. As police officers, we deal with addiction problems directly and can do more to help. We're in the ditches. We're right there on the line of this. We deal with the people using it. We need to reach out a little further and do what we can to help them. It's not just pick them up, put them in the ambulance, forget about them. We want to reach our hand out a little further and make their life better if we can. Why divert again? Bail reform. You used to arrest some people, they go to jail. You give them a week or 2 in jail. They used to be able to have a hiatus from the drugs and possibly have a clear head to get off drugs. Bail reform, we're not getting that. They get arraigned and they're back on the streets. And again, we talked about the last overdose. That could happen hours after this arrest. So we're going to take the time there and try to help them at the arrest phase. Again, addicts are back on, we just went over that, addicts are back on the streets within hours because of bail reform. And again, help is needed immediately because their next drug use may be their last. So we cannot wait for drug courts and other programs because they take a while to get rolling. We're going to try to roll a program immediately for them. And we can't wait. Partners in our program, Casa Trinity, it's a local drug rehabilitation program. They have 24-hour access where we can call them whenever we need them. Inpatient, outpatient, outpatients down there in River Street. We have the inpatient up by the hospital there. And what they are going to help for is they're going to provide peer counselors to provide information, treatment, and rehabilitation. And the CEO of that's Ann Pettibone Domingo, so I think we all know who she is. She's been around for years. She's our partner on this. And let's go down to the next level, D.I.V.E.R.T officers. See the next slide. Cornell Police Department currently has 6 divert officers. This is how we're planning on running this. Their duties are to check for referrals each shift. But the way we have this, each shift they run into an addiction problem is causing life-changing issues for their family or that person, and it's just something that's ongoing. Our officers are going to make a referral into a log we have here at the police department. The divert officers, we have 6 of them. They're going to follow up with us and see if they can't take care of these people and get them into a meeting with CASA peers. So that's what their duties are, to check for the referrals, make contact with the referred individuals, facilitate the meetings with the individual and CASA Trinity peers, and track progress of each one of them for this program. If we go to different ways we're going to use this program for emergencies, again, I'll show you how each call will be handled. No prosecution. Those that contact Cornell PD and seek immediate help for addiction may turn in their drugs and paraphernalia and avoid possession charges. And that is as I spoke at the beginning, Chief Murray, he had that going for years, and again, we're playing off of it, and we're continuing that. If they bring in their drugs, they want the help immediately. Again, no prosecution. We will immediately contact CASA Trinity peer counselor and start the admission process. Overdoses are another issue we run into. Officers at the scene will contact CASA Trinity, and a peer counselor will speak with the victim at the hospital, encouraging them to enter the rehabilitation program. So again, there we are. We're going to have somebody right there whenever we need them for our partners. Calls for service when there's no arrest. Officer will respond to a call for service. He finds the underlying problem is a substance abuse problem. The officer will explain our D.I.V.E.R.T program to the subject. The officer will then refer the subject to Cornell PD D.I.V.E.R.T officer, who will attempt to facilitate a meeting with CASA Trinity peer counselor. Again, so we'll be setting them up with a meeting, and they will be advised of what CASA can provide them, and have the ability to enroll at that point, either inpatient, outpatient. But again, we're getting them right into somebody so they can make better decisions here in the near future. Calls for service with arrests. Officer makes an arrest for charges where the underlying issue is an addiction problem. The arrest will be made. The Cornell PD D.I.V.E.R.T program will be explained to the arrestee. The arrestee will be referred to a Cornell PD D.I.V.E.R.T officer who will attempt to facilitate a meeting with the CASA Trinity peer counselor. I talked to Brooks Baker, and he advised me that the district attorney's office will take into consideration any help the arrestee gets on their own. So, if they end up getting a drug court sentence or have to be involved in drug court later, this immediate program will help them to keep them hopefully sober until they get to that point, hopefully keep them alive. Again, we talked about how quick this stuff can kill people. Community outreach. D.I.V.E.R.T officers will also attempt to facilitate help for known addicts or persons identified as such during their patrol duties. D.I.V.E.R.T officers are encouraged to engage them in conversation and conversation about the D.I.V.E.R.T program and the help we can get them. Some people fall through the cracks. We see them walking around all day. They do nothing wrong. We can see in public. We don't want to forget them, although we know they have problems. We're going to initiate contact with those people too. Sometimes all it takes is a hand extension, and maybe they'll take the help and may save their life someday. We don't want people that we don't respond to calls to or arrest, fall through the cracks, and that's how we're going to go out and tackle that problem. Again, the program is strictly voluntary. We are not going to use it to leverage information. This is a program where we have to be honest with people. They need to be honest with us. And we're not going to use any information to go out and try to catch the rest of the people. We have to have their trust to make this work, so that we're not going to go after any information people that are involved in this program. Let's see. Program is basically the underlying reason for this. The program is a community policing program that, with the help of our partners, attempts to help those with addiction problems get on a path to recovery before it's too late. And that's the program, and we hope this is going to work. We're confident it's going to work once we get a few going and we get the trust of some people with addictions. They'll spread the word for us, and I think it's one way to tackle this problem before it gets worse. Any questions?
Hey, Mike, you mentioned about Narcan situations that somebody would speak to the person at the hospital. And what if somebody's administered Narcan and they refuse to go to the hospital? Will somebody do a follow-up with that person after the fact? Have a peer visit them?
Again, I'm getting stereo from the phone, Joe, but can you just repeat that real quick? If somebody say that again, please.
If you had a Narcan situation, they were administered Narcan.
Yes.
And the person refuses to get taken to the hospital, would somebody follow up with that person after the incident, the next day or so, one of these peers, would they go visit this person and say, I just wanted to make you aware of the D.I.V.E.R.T program, because that night they're not going to know anything about what's happening, but maybe the next day if they're aware of it.
Yes, that's going to happen. Whenever there's an overdose, we're going to immediately call CASA. And they're going to send somebody up there at that point. If we're making a referral in our book, so a D.I.V.E.R.T officer, anyway, we'll follow up the next day. If there hasn't been any contact with a peer counselor, that'll happen the next day.
Okay. Thank you.
Mike, Joe Pelch, is there a weight limit on the amount of drugs they have? I mean, there's traffickers, then there's users.
I can't hear.
No, I don't think, Joe, there's no limit to it. The district attorney's office Brooks Baker has told us that if someone's involved in at least a misdemeanor level.
Oh, misdemeanor is not an issue, but I'm talking about like you hit a drug bust the other day. You guys did a great job on it. There was heavy weight.
Right.
Is that guy going to be qualified for this program?
Right. That would be up to the district attorney's office to take a look.
Okay, so we're going to have the final call in the DA's.
Right.
Yeah, Joe. Basically, we're gonna advise them of the program no matter what. It's up to the DA's office if they want to recognize the help they get.
I think it's a great idea, Mike and Ted. We need it.
Yep.
Thank you.
I mean, we're still going to be enforcing the law as far as our enforcement efforts. They're still going to hold true, and we're still going to be enforcing the law. But this hopefully will supplement it, and we'll have less enforcement if we can get to people and they can actually get the help that's needed.
I think it's a great idea.
Thanks, appreciate it, Joe.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Chief. It's a good program. I think it's going to have a positive impact on our community for a long time to come. And I just want to compliment Ann Domingos from Trinity Casa as well. I've known Ann a long time, and she is a top-notch professional in her field and will be just a tremendous asset for us. So, all right. Well, thank you. Are there any other questions about the D.I.V.E.R.T program? Okay, I'm going to hang up the phone on Chief then.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Okay, just before we leave, just want to touch base on the general election that's coming up on November 3rd. And this is really more for the students' benefit than anything. You know, in my lifetime, I can't remember political discourse in the country being as negative as it is today. And it's very easy to get wrapped up in, you know, the 24-hour news cycle and all the, you know, the stuff on social media that just seemingly never ending. But I just want the students that are tuned in tonight to know that, you know, it's not like that on all levels of government. And, you know, and the Hornell Common Council is a perfect example of that, of, you know, local government that works for the people, that's effective. There's no, you know, petty bickering and petty partisanship that goes on. You know, we've got Democrats, we've got Republicans. Most people that would, you know, attend one of these meetings, you probably don't know who is who. And, you know, that's a good problem to have, because we, you know, here in Hornell, we have civic-minded community members that just really want to do an honest job and give back and make their community better. And what a shame, you know, that we have to really, you know, put up with everything that's going on in Albany and Washington, you know, day in and day out. You know, it just seems like it gets worse all the time. But, you know, don't let that affect, you know, what you think about government in general, because there are a lot of really good government officials out there, especially at the local levels, that work really hard to try to improve their communities, try to make a difference, you know, in the lives of the people in which they serve. And you're looking at them right on your screen tonight. So, you know, let Hornell continue to be that shining example of, you know, good government and effective government for the people. With that, I'd urge you to get out and vote. But you know what? Be nice to each other. Not everyone has to agree all the time on every single issue. You know, just because different people have different opinions, you know, doesn't make them bad people. It really doesn't. We can respectfully disagree, have our own thoughts, and still get along, still be friends. There's nothing wrong with that. And we need more of that in this country. We need more people that, you know, try to understand each other instead of trying to talk over each other. And that's, and unfortunately, you know, you see too much of that coming out of Washington, D.C. these days. So with that, get out and vote. Use your, you know, exercise your right to vote, and that's your voice. And just be respectful and be kind. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by John Allison, second by Jessica Cleveland. Any questions? If not, call the roll.
Monticello,
Yes.
Allison, Allison.
He left.
Yes.
Warner,
Yes.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Valentine,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Schinnebarger.
Yes.
That's 7 ayes, Your Honor.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
Good
Thank you,
meeting.
everyone.
Good night.
Have a
Good
good
night.
night.
See ya.
Get back to the Bills game.